हिमालय की खूबसूरत और हसी वादियों के बीच अरुणाचल प्रदेश की सबसे खूबसूरत जगहों में एक है तवांग। लेकिन तवांग की खासियत सिर्फ यहाँ का प्राकृतिक सौंदर्य नहीं, बल्कि कुछ और भी है। तवांग बौद्ध धर्म से जुड़े लोगों की आस्था और भक्ति का प्रतीक है। और जो ये नजारा आप देख रहे हैं, ये है तवांग की खूबसूरती में चार चांद लगाती खिनमै नियंगमा मोनेस्ट्री का। तवांग की धरती पर कदम रखने वाले कम से कम एक बार इस मोनेस्ट्री में भगवान बुद्ध के दर्शन जरूर करते हैं और परम पूजनीय 14वें थिक्से रिम्पोचे से आशीर्वाद लेते हैं। पिछले दिनों तवांग में 13 से 22 जून तक शानदार कार्यक्रम का आयोजन किया गया। इस आयोजन की वजह थी गुरु पद्म संभव का जन्म दिवस। धार्मिक रूप से अति महत्वपूर्ण दिवस की शुरुआत हुई गुरु मंत्रों के जाप से। गुरु पद्म संभव का बौद्ध धर्म में अहम स्थान है। नियंगमा संप्रदाय के अनुयायी उन्हें द्वितीय बुद्ध मानते हैं। गुरु पद्म संभव एक साधु पुरुष थे और इन्होंने 8वीं सदी में बौद्ध धर्म को भूटान और तिब्बत में ले जाने एवं प्रसार करने में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई थी। वहां उनको गुरु रिम्पोचे यानी बहुमूल्य गुरु या लोंपो रिम्पोचे के नाम से जाना जाता है। यही वजह थी गुरु दिवस के इस दिन खिनमै मोनेस्ट्री से जुड़े सभी लोग और दूर दराज से आए लोगों में भी श्रद्धा और भक्ति की भावना देखते ही बन रही थी। थेचू पूजा में सिर्फ खिनमै मोनेस्ट्री के भिक्षु ही नहीं, बल्कि भारी तादाद में तवांग और उसके दूर दराज इलाकों से आए लोगों और बच्चों ने भी शिरकत की। कई घंटे चले इस सामूहिक प्रार्थना कार्यक्रम में तवांग में रह रहे तमाम बौद्ध धर्म अनुयायियों के साथ स्थानीय लोगों ने भी अपने श्रद्धा सुमन अर्पित किए। मंत्रोच्चारण के बाद लोगों ने परम पूजनीय 14वें थिक्से रिम्पोचे से आशीर्वाद भी लिया। तवांग के खिनमै नियंगमा मोनेस्ट्री में चल रही थेचू पूजा के अगले एपिसोड में हम आपको दिखाएंगे रंगारंग नृत्यों की झलक।
कैसे दूर हो आपके जीवन की मुश्किलें, कैसे सवरे आपका करियर, कैसे सफल हो आपका हर काम, क्या कहते हैं आपकी किस्मत के सितारे। जानिए सटीक होने वाली बौद्ध भविष्यवाणियां।
Tashtale and Namaste. 9th August 2010, Monday, 29th day of the 6th lunar month. And this day has an elemental combination of water and wind, which is an inauspicious combination, and it brings disharmony and separates your loved ones. Therefore, don't believe in rumors, gossips, in order to avoid bad relations with your near and dear ones. This day is also not an auspicious day to observe Shergu and Lomche. That's a prayer observing the death, 49th day of the death, and the year-on day of a deceased. However, this day is a day of Sojong, so you can generate marriage and purify your negative deeds. 10th August 2010, Tuesday and 30th day of the 6th month. That's new moon, and it is also considered a day of Shakyamuni Buddha. This day has an elemental combination of fire and fire. It's a good combination, but it's a day of Satak Yanggong and Chi Namgo. So it's an inauspicious day in all, for almost all the activities. You should specifically avoid activities such as doing construction works, engagements and weddings, funeral ceremonies and enthronements. 11th August 2010, Wednesday and first day of the 7th lunar month. That's the start of the new month, and Pumdong faces towards east from the 19th day of this lunar month till the 18th day of the next lunar month. Therefore, avoid shows, commencing travels, wars facing toward the east. This day has an elemental combination of water and water till the 4 p.m. Therefore, it brings nectar and increases life and strength. This day is specifically an auspicious day for the people who are born in the year of Rat and Pig. You can carry out all the activities connected to medicine, cleansing, family matters, promoting business, receiving long life empowerments, and practicing long life rituals. You can also do Naga offerings and rituals to bring in rain, as there is Lutep on this day. However, you should avoid inviting guests, marriages, funerals, constructions, especially the stupas, need to be avoided. See you tomorrow at the same time.
क्या है भगवान बुद्ध का दर्शन, बौद्ध धर्म का गूढ़ ज्ञान, कैसे मिले दुख से मुक्ति, कैसे पाएं बुद्धत्व, क्या है धम्मम, क्या है संगम। ये कार्यक्रम आपको रोज दे रहा है ऐसे तमाम सवालों के जवाब। आज बौद्ध धर्म के प्रकांड विद्वान परम पावन 17वें कर्मापा से जानिए भगवान बुद्ध का दर्शन और बौद्ध धर्म का सही ज्ञान।
In his Way of the Bodhisattva, Shantideva used the example of earth
and the other great elements to illustrate the quality of bodhicitta to which he aspired. The essence of his aspiration was, may I not only be a cause for temporary positive feelings for sentient beings, but rather may I be the very ground on which sentient beings may live and thrive. This is an important aspiration. We are training in loving kindness and compassion not only to provide sentient beings temporary relief. We are also training in order to provide beings happiness in all situations without end. The great elements, such as earth and space, illustrate the enduring quality, beyond transitions, of the love we wish to provide sentient beings. The continuum of our bodies will come to an end, but the elements of earth and space will remain. The aspiration that Shantideva was making was to mix our loving kindness and compassion with earth and space, so that our love and compassion will provide sustenance for beings for as long as space endures. This is very important. So, one may agree that this notion of compassion, in which self and other are inseparable, is a wonderful ideal. However, one may wonder if there are any examples of real people who lived up to this ideal. We Buddhists identify the Buddha as someone who possessed great non-dual compassion, compassion of the equality of self and other. The Buddha is an actual historical person who lived in this world. Even though the Buddha is not alive, I think we can still feel the repercussions of the love and compassion he demonstrated 2,500 years ago. We don't have to make this up or pretend anything. Just as the Buddha experienced compassion that transcends self and other, we too can experience this. If we ask, what was the self of the Buddha? The answer is that the self of the Buddha was all sentient beings. Since this was the Buddha's outlook, whatever he thought about himself was equally a thought about all sentient beings. Whatever he thought about all sentient beings was equally a thought about himself. So when we talk about oneself becoming a part of others, all sentient beings, we can illustrate this principle by looking at our bodies. We can clearly differentiate the various parts of our body, our hands, head, legs, and so on. Each have their own place. Nevertheless, they all come together to form one body and one experience of the body. It is the same way with self and other. If you want to distinguish between yourself and others, there are distinctions that can be drawn. Nevertheless, from the point of view of the direct experience of compassion, there is no separation between the cultivator of compassion and compassion's object. They are both simply facets of a single experience. If we look at our experience in this way, I think we will come to feel what the equality of self and other is like. This is how things are when we look from the positive point of view of the harmonious conditions that are present within us for the growth of compassion. However, we can also look at bodhicitta from the point of view of the adverse conditions for its growth. There are certainly a great number of adverse conditions for developing bodhicitta. We might even become disheartened or even annoyed by these adverse conditions. Still, we can inspire ourselves to go forward, even in the face of these conditions. From the perspective of adverse conditions, most of us are familiar with these. Mental afflictions such as pride, attachment, and jealousy. Even though we do not invite them, they show up anyway. Therefore, it doesn't seem probable that they would go away automatically, even if we told them to go away. However, I think it is still possible for us to engage these obstacles in conversation. As I mentioned earlier, yesterday I went out to see New York City a little bit, and I had my first experience of New York traffic.
Traffic.
With all its stops and starts, it's actually quite an intense emotional experience. Most of us probably have similar experiences of making our way in cars through the city, so we can all encounter situations that might make us angry. And if we are not careful, we may in the process spill hot coffee on our laps. But, as we say in Tibetan, there's no use in becoming pointlessly angry. This is something for sure that we can think about and talk to ourselves about. In any given situation, we can ask ourselves, is it helpful to get angry? Or should I not stir up my anger? To briefly describe the essence of our two basic emotional responses, aggression and desire, we could say that aggression, or anger, is when we try to repel what we don't want. And desire is when we try to bring closer to ourselves what we like. We all experience these two basic emotions, and we can't get rid of them. Furthermore, we could even say that we actually need these two. Yet at the same time, we should also recognize that things aren't always the way we perceive them to be. Things that stir anger in us aren't necessarily always things that we should be repelling. Things that we see as desirable are not necessarily always things that we would benefit from bringing closer to us. We can't make definitive conclusions about things all the time. So we shouldn't immediately accept everything that our perceptions present to us as desirable or repulsive. At the same time, we would just be making things difficult for ourselves as beginners if we tried to get rid of our anger and desire in one fell swoop. What we can do is identify the aspects of these emotions that are clearly off the mark and try to relinquish those first. Then, we can gradually work on letting go of the other aspects of anger and desire that are confused. Working in this way with our emotions will cause us to get to know our emotions well. When we know our emotions well, we will make better decisions.